Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day in the market, and it was volatile. Woo, boy, I enjoyed just doing a members video and showing this to them, and I mean, it was as soon as I did the video, put it out, we went back the other way. I'm like, it went all the way back up. So I'm like, wow, man, the volatility of October, you gotta love it. I'm telling you, man, traders are loving life right now. And so a lot of interesting things happen in the market today, to say the least, which I'm going to cover with you. I think it's very important. Some stuff you're going to see floating all over social media and everywhere else, as you might know. But I don't want you to miss this. We'll start off with the good news here. Then we'll go into the market internals because it's a hot mess right now. And I'm not surprised. But then something else that's, everybody's going to be on watch for. So you might as well put it on your list or your calendar and stuff. Be watching for it too. But hey, good news is monthly new listings increased. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's right down there. It's this little blip here. Let me zoom in for you here. There it is. See that? Woohoo! Boy, you want to talk about falling off a cliff, and you wonder why supply doesn't exist anymore in the housing market and why prices and those rates could stay high for a while. Oh yes. Now, I'm not surprised by this because I give morning news briefs every morning, but understand a lot of earnings rolled out today, a lot of earnings beats, and some upgrades, okay? Had a few misses, but mostly, again, the earnings apocalypse is still not upon us yet. More importantly, the breadth in the market is hot garbage, which actually can be good because usually when you're in the hot garbage mode of the breadth of the market, and I mean like how many stocks are above the 200-day moving average, their 50 moving average, setting new highs and lows and stuff, and the fear and greed index is in the toilet. That usually means you're somewhere near a bottom. Doesn't mean you may not be there, but usually there's a turn in the works, okay? And you can see the Nasdaq 100, which holds up the market, only 51%. So basically there's only 100 stocks in this, right? So only 51 of them are above the 200-day moving average. We know what 7 of them are probably. Now the S&P 500 gets worse though, 30%. So not even a third are above the 200-day moving average. And then the Russell, which we've talked about, I mean, not even a quarter or above their 200-day moving average, guys. That is horrible, horrible. And then the fear and greed index I like to follow more than any of the rest of them are up the top there. This one follows how many stocks are in an uptrend, and you got 22, okay, or 22%, excuse me. And so that's just not good, and and that's extreme fear actually. And so again, that thing can go into single digits. Again, what else do you got? Setting new lows. We set so many new lows yesterday. You got to go all the way back, I think, a year and a half to actually eclipse that number. You can see the numbers right there as we scroll across. We set a bunch of new lows yesterday in the market. Again, this is one of those indicators where you go, oh, okay, that's a good thing if you're looking for a turnaround, right? Again, doesn't mean we're at the bottom, doesn't mean it is a bottom. Just means this is a bottoming process, which you got to figure out. Now, the thing, a lot of people, you see this all over social media, so let me go ahead and tell you, set it on your calendar, set it on your charts, is the 10-year, 3-month, 10-year, 2-year, right? When these things eclipse zero, they're saying, oh, they're uninverted. And when they're uninverted, you see I think I put literally unvert, which is just stupid, /doom, but, or univert, what about univert? Anyway, you can see when it uninverts or passes zero, that's when everything goes to heck in a handbasket. It usually takes quite a few months, but again, just keep that in mind. Now, same thing here with 10-year, 2-year. You'll see the same thing. Just type that in if you're in TradeView. Again, if you need an account, links down at the bottom. When this gets past zero and goes back in the positive, it's like you're on a clock and stuff, and you can see right here what we're talking about. As soon as it comes up through zero, boom, you can count the months out. If you load this up in TradeView, that's when you normally will hit a recession. You can see how far down that is, right? Like I don't think we've ever been that far down before. I mean, that's way down there. So that's how jacked up things have been when it comes to yields and stuff, all right? Now, something very important to know here. And before we continue, guys, please hit that like button there at the bottom. Give it a thumbs up. Helps people find the video. And if you like this kind of content, think about subscribing. I appreciate all you guys' support. What is one thing that helped move this market up from 2010 to 2021, right? What was it? It was stock buybacks. Why were they able to do that, especially from 2010 and 2021? Because it was free money. They were literally taking loans out and money out and lines of credit to buy their stock and stuff. That's what they were doing, to run the stocks up. All right, we didn't know that at the time. But you can see buyback stocks underperformance is rare. Buyback stocks set for worst relative return since 1998. outside COVID, and it's actually decreased. The amount of stock buybacks have decreased for a lot of companies because they just can't afford to do it right now. Apple, Microsoft, Google, all of them can afford this stuff. They got boatloads of cash, right? And so you can see S&P 500 buyback index minus S&P 500 index annual return. And right now, those stocks are performing terribly. You can already guess which ones are performing very well. That will be Apple and them. So keep an eye on this. Again, the Magnificent Seven, the reason why they keep going up because they buy a boatload of their stock back. The rest of these companies now, because they just can't afford to take that money out to do that anymore, all right, and manipulate their stock like that. And now, when it comes to the indexes here, before we get to individual stocks, obviously the S&P recaptured its 200-day moving average, the SPY that is, which is a good thing when you look at it. When we break it down into a smaller time frame, you can see right here, what are we looking at? Well, let me get rid of that. We are looking at higher lows, right? Barely right there, but we made it. And then higher highs, barely, but we made it. And so, again, it is trying to start moving back up, gain some semblance of, the bulls are trying to take back over into an upward channel. Right there is a bunch of, I'm going to say right now, you got to basically clip that level right there too, but there's a bunch of dark pool prints right there, like 426, like billions of dollars worth. So we'll see how the market reacts off that. We would think it would be sales because it got sent down immediately after that, but we'll see. Now, because they can act as magnets and stuff. Now, one thing you're seeing here is 420 has been a beast so far, right? It has held support. It is stabilized right there, as you can see. I know when we pull out from a long-term view, we were still in a downward channel, okay? So this is still bearish. Bears are still in control of this, still got lower highs, all that good stuff. So keep that in mind. But it seems like it's trying to stabilize. And you add that with the factors of the fear and greed being in the toilet, all the lows that are being set, all this stuff that's bearish, bearish, bearish. That don't mean it can't give a nice, good, move up and then push down even more, okay? So again, it's a process. Now, Nasdaq 100. Here you got this trend line, obviously rejected 4 times off of. It broke through it today. And so that's not a bad thing. And what are you also seeing? Lower highs or higher lows, and higher highs. And so that's not a bad thing. Again, this one's trying to turn into an upward channel here. So we'll see if it can continue that move as tech seems to be rallying like crazy. Understand this trend line right here will be resistance as it moves up. I believe it's like 0.5% away as I'm speaking. And so if earnings are really good today for those mega caps, then this will probably push us up tomorrow, right? And we'll see if it can break through that trend line right there. And you can see, with that double bottom there, again, that's not a bearish thing to say the least. So if you can get a double bottom, same as double tops, they're pretty powerful. Again, we'll have to see if it plays out. They don't always play out. I don't even know what the percentage is for a success rate. So if you do, put in the comments. But again, look for double bottom, double tops. They can be powerful things. Now, when we go over to the DJT, the Dow Jones Transportation Average, something is lying because, man, this thing is a hot mess. Remember, this is like the backbone of the economy, and maybe it's not as important anymore. Who knows? Maybe UPS reports so they're on Thursday. Maybe they can start pulling this up. This thing is down 6% in 6 days since it lost its 200, lost that major trend line right there. And so it's a hot mess, right? And I showed you why just the other day. If you didn't see my video, I'll put it at the end. And so either this is telling the truth about what's happening or the market's just going on one of these crazy rallies again. That's what we got to figure out. Now, Tesla, of course, told you where that battle zone was. It got a gap up today. So again, this looks like the other ones I showed you, right? So we got this gap right here, another gap to fill. And you can see, obviously, broke its prior day high, broke Friday's high. This right here was the prior day low. That right there is the war zone area, right? Between 202, 210 we talked about. And, when you look at it, this right here, it looks the same, right? Where you got these lower highs or higher lows, higher highs, right? Forming, trying to start turning back into an upward channel, right? And it's just, you got to figure out how Tesla moves. Again, it's one of those kind of stocks that sometimes you don't get a huge chance to, get into it when it dips, which I'm going to show you in just a second. But, we can see right here, it's like trying to bottom out here, trying to form that rounding bottom, to start moving up. And we had call flow coming in today. And again, that's how Tesla moves. It's going to be some kind of news, call volume starts pouring in and stuff. And I thought it was really going to go today. And then all of a sudden the market just rolled over. And that was the end of that whole move. But, it came back again at the end of the day. I think it'd be healthy if it came back, filled that gap, gave another retest in that war zone down there between 202, 210 before it moved back up. But again, when you have these big drops like this, with Tesla, sometimes they don't last long, right? You've seen it multiple times as we go through here, and you saw what happened. When that thing hit 100 last time, it just took off. It's like, see ya. And so again, we'll see if this is one of those moments or not, because they already reported earnings. So, we'll see if any more bad news will come out for them. Now, Nvidia, I spotted this early on today. It was just wedging. And I told you, when you find these patterns, there's going to be an explosive move one way or the other. Well, this explosive move was down, right? The whole market just turned, shifted down. But then this one came down, hit the opening price again, boom, rocketed back up, ended up having the rejection off the trend line as usual, came back down, and then just took off, right? And said, hold my beer. Now, again, leaves another gap. We're just trying to fill today as I'm talking. And then we got this trend line right here, which you have that other big gap up from there. And again, when I pan out, this is the trend line I'm talking about right here, which goes pretty far back. And so again, it was already been resistance once. It will remain resistance as it's been support and resistance in the past. And so again, we'll see how that one plays out tomorrow. Again, they don't report earnings for quite a while. Now, AMD, same thing here. You got the 200. You got that anchor VWAP from 2023 lows. Still holding the support, that trend line support. And so a lot of confluence still holding this one up. And, when you look at this thing, I'm looking at it kind of going, wait a minute, is that about just trying to form another like falling wedge on a smaller time frame here? Because when you look at it, that seems to be what it's doing. It might even be, as I draw this trend line, maybe a breakout. I mean, again, if Nvidia, like I said, Nvidia drags up all boats. So again, it looks like as this touches, and that's 4 touches and a breakout. We'll see if it's a false breakout or not, but it seems like on a smaller time frame, another falling wedge. And the reason why it's important, because how does AMD move? Look, wedge, 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 huge wedge. And then it pops. And so we'll see if this is the case. So if Nvidia keeps flying, most likely it's going to pull up all semiconductors, right? Now, you might have noticed Chinese stocks were green today. And I'm going to act out a little skit here because I was just chuckling. I know I shouldn't be laughing when I think about this. But obviously they were up big today. And what happened was something that's never happened before. The president of China actually goes to their central bank. He's been president for 10 years. He's never been there. All of a sudden, he showed up today to show that he was serious about turning around the economy. And I got to tell you, I just started laughing. I shouldn't laugh. It's probably inappropriate. But I mean, can you imagine like getting the news, you're whatever their title is, the president of the bank right there, the Fed chair, whatever his name is, right? And they say his secretary comes running in. He's like, the president's coming. Like, president of what? President of China. He's coming here. Really? He's never been here. What's he coming here for? I guess what he wants to hear is like, that I'm going to save the economy? Like, we're going to fix this? Like, really? And then, like, called in all his little buddies, the other chairmen or whatever. And he's like, the president's coming. And they're like, what? What are you going to tell him? I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to tell him? Like, well, you better tell him you can save this thing. Well, we can't save it. There's nothing we can do. He's like, you're going to be the one to tell him that? Do you know what's going to happen to you? Yeah, you're right. Hold on a second. Honey, it's him calling his wife. Yeah, do we got any cash? Yeah, go ahead and start withdrawing all our money out the banks right now. Why? Oh, the president's coming here tomorrow. What? Yes, the president. Yeah, that's correct. I think he wants me to save the country. Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, seriously, just imagine that conversation and how much sleep that guy got last night. I mean, because you know what he wants. That's all he wants to hear from him. We're going to fix it. Don't worry about it, sir. Never been there in 10 years and then he's showing up. Really? And there's nothing they can do. What are they going to do? They know it's nothing to do with them. They're like, dude, it's the real estate. Like, you jacked up the real estate market. What do you want us to do? All right. But so pay attention to see, if some bankers start disappearing, because you know how they control their banking system over there. But yeah, I just started laughing. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh man, I'm going to feel bad for those guys because they got family and probably got kids. And they're like, this ain't my fault. Right. But it's not like the president's going to take any kind of blame. So good luck to you on that one. Now, earnings. Yes, we do have earnings. More and more boatloads of them, right? Boeing coming out, T-Mobile, Hilton, ADP. Then you're going to have Meta, IBM, ServiceNow, O'Reilly Auto Parts. And so we'll have a boatload of those, plus plenty of economic data coming out pre-market. Going to have all your mortgage data, your building permits. I mean, can you imagine they're going to be that great? New home sales, a lot of oil data. These auctions shouldn't be a problem, I would think. The 5-year note auction, because the 2-year wasn't a problem today. But you will have Fed Chair Powell speaking at the same time Meta is reporting earnings. I have no idea what format this is. I assume he is just answering questions, and so we'll have to figure it out. I can imagine that would mess with anybody's earnings and after hours. But again, you know how the market is, right? Now, algo's already programmed to listen to everything he's going to say. And, understand with these yields being where they're at, I'll show you tomorrow, something he said that is absolutely going to affect Fed's policy. And so he could say that tomorrow. And if he says it again, I think it's going to be, the market's going to say that's super bullish. Okay. So just keep that in mind and stuff. But again, if you remember, you'll know about all the earnings tomorrow. I'll give it to you first thing in the morning, who's beating, who's not, or whatever it is. And we'll know what the options market's expecting and everything else. So anyway, another volatile day, and tomorrow will be the same thing, and tomorrow after that. So hope you guys got some out of it. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know how your day went, and I will see you tomorrow.